The night air in Seoul was sharp, filled with the scent of rain and gasoline. The city glowed beneath neon lights, but for Miriam, it felt darker than ever. She had just closed the little cafe Hajun bought her, wiping the counter with slow, tired hands. The day had been busy. Customers loved her coffee and charm, but her heart was uneasy. Hajun had not come by in 3 days. No late-night calls, no teasing messages, no silent glances that made her heart race. It was unusual for him, and she didn't want to admit that she missed his chaos. "Amma, can we wait for Uncle Hajun tonight?" Little Nari asked, holding a small pink cup of milk. Miriam smiled softly. "He's busy, baby. Maybe tomorrow." But her words cracked slightly. Busy? Or avoiding her? She didn't know. She sat down beside Nari, holding her close, staring at the rainy glass door. Her thoughts spiraled. The way Hajun had been changing lately, gentle, protective, calmer, was confusing. She knew his world was dangerous, filled with blood and lies. And yet, he treated her like she was something fragile. When he smiled at her, it was as if all her struggles disappeared. That same night, in another part of the city, Hajun stood inside his office, a private room above his nightclub. Cigarette smoke curled through the air, his knuckles bruised and jaw tense. His men had just brought in bad news. "Boss," one of them said quietly, "the Kim Syndicate, they're back. Their leader returned from Japan." Hajun froze. "Who?" "Han Min-soo." The name was a blade through his chest. He'd heard it before years ago in the underground rings where deals were made in whispers. But now it had a different weight. Min-soo, the man who'd once been involved with a woman named Miriam. The man who had abandoned her and vanished after making her pregnant. Hajun's hand clenched. "So he's back," he muttered darkly. "And he's my rival now?" His lieutenant nodded. "He's taking over half of Gangnam. He's already talking about peace treaties and alliances, but we both know that man doesn't do peace." Hajun dropped his cigarette and crushed it under his boot. His voice was low, dangerous. "Find out where he's hiding. I want to see him myself." He didn't say it out loud, but his heart was pounding for another reason. If this was Miriam's Min-soo, he knew their paths were about to collide in the worst way possible. 2 days later, the rain finally stopped. Miriam had just stepped out of a supermarket, holding bags of groceries. She walked with Nari down a narrow street, humming softly, when a black car slowed beside them. Her chest tightened, the tinted window rolled down, and there he was, Min-soo, the man who had destroyed her heart. Her breath caught as his voice came through, smooth and familiar. "Miriam." She froze. For a second, the world felt silent. Her fingers trembled around Nari's hand. "Appa," Nari whispered innocently. Miriam's throat burned. "No, baby. Keep walking." But Min-soo stepped out of the car, wearing a fine suit, his smile polished and fake. "You've changed, but I'd recognize those eyes anywhere," he said softly. She turned around slowly, glaring at him. "And I'd recognize that lying mouth anywhere." Min-soo laughed faintly. "Still the same fire, I see." Her temper snapped. "Don't you dare talk to me like that. You left me when I was pregnant, Min-soo. You said you had a family. You made me feel like trash." His face twitched. "Things were complicated." "Complicated?" She cut him off. "No, you were just a coward." People were starting to stare. Nari clung to her skirt, eyes wide. Min-soo's fake charm disappeared. He looked at Nari for a long time. Too long. "She's mine, isn't she?" he finally asked. Miriam stepped back, her voice low and trembling. "She's not your anything. Don't you dare claim her now." He smiled sadly, the kind that made her want to slap him. "You can't erase blood, Miriam. One day she'll want to know." "Maybe," she hissed. "But not from you." She walked away quickly, heart pounding, refusing to look back. But Min-soo watched her go, his jaw tightening. "She's my weakness and my weapon." The next night, Miriam couldn't sleep. The memory of Min-soo's face haunted her. The way he looked at Nari, the arrogance in his eyes. It made her stomach twist. Around midnight, she stepped out onto her balcony for air. Rain had started again, light and steady. She looked down and froze. Hajun was leaning against his black car across the street, watching her silently under the rain. Their eyes met. He didn't move, didn't speak, just gave a faint nod as if saying, "I'm here." Something inside her broke. Years of fear, anger, loneliness. Tears spilled silently as she whispered, "Why do you care this much?" He couldn't hear her, but somehow, she felt his answer in the way he stood there. Because for once, someone finally saw her pain and didn't walk away. By morning, Hajun received a message that made his blood run cold. It was from Minsu. "We have unfinished business, old friend. Meet me tonight at the docks. Bring the woman if you're not afraid." Hajun crushed the phone in his hand. He wants to play games? Fine. He turned to his men. "Double the guards on Miriam and Nari. If anything happens to them, I'll burn this city to the ground." Meanwhile, Miriam sat inside her cafe, unaware of the storm about to explode around her. She hummed softly as Nari played beside her, trying to pretend that life was normal. But deep down, she could feel it, the tension in the air, the shadow following her again. Little did she know, that night would mark the beginning of a war between two men, one who had broken her heart, and one who was ready to destroy the world to protect it. The wind was wild that night. The moon hid behind heavy clouds, and the Han River shimmered under cold, broken light. Everything about Seoul felt tense, waiting, like something terrible was about to happen. Miriam sat by the window of her tiny apartment, staring into the darkness. Nari was fast asleep in bed, her little chest rising and falling peacefully. Miriam should have been resting too, but sleep was impossible. Minsu's face haunted her. The sound of his voice, the way he looked at their daughter, it replayed in her mind like a broken record. And then there was Hajun. His stormy eyes, his silent protection, his confusing tenderness. Two men, one past, one present, both dangerous in different ways. Her phone buzzed suddenly. A message. Unknown number. "You still owe me answers, Miriam. Meet me tonight at the docks. I just want to talk." Her heart pounded. She didn't need to ask who it was. She knew that number, that tone, that poison. She typed furiously, "Leave me alone. I have nothing to say to you." Almost immediately, another reply came. "You owe it to our daughter." Her throat tightened. Rage, guilt, confusion. They all crashed together inside her. Maybe she did need closure. Maybe if she saw him one last time, she could end this nightmare forever. She stood up, grabbed her coat, and glanced at Nari. "I'll be back soon, baby," she whispered. "Just a quick walk." She didn't realize that as she stepped into the street, a black car parked 2 blocks away turned its headlights on. Inside sat Hajun, watching her every move. Hajun had been outside for hours. He knew something was wrong. The air felt heavy, her energy off. He'd stationed men nearby, but when he saw her leave the apartment alone, panic slammed through him. "Follow her," he ordered through the radio. "Don't let her out of sight." He started the car and tailed her at a distance. The rain had started again, light but cold. It made the city streets glisten like glass. Miriam's hood covered her face as she walked quickly, hands buried in her pockets. She boarded a bus heading toward the river. Hajun followed in silence, his grip tight on the wheel. "Why are you doing this, Miriam?" he muttered under his breath. "Why tonight?" The docks were quiet, too quiet. Cargo containers stood like giant shadows. The air smelled of rust and salt. A ship's horn wailed faintly in the distance. Miriam stepped onto the cracked pavement, her heart thudding hard. She saw him almost immediately, Minsu, leaning against his black car under a broken streetlight. His smile was gentle, too gentle, and that made her angrier. "Miriam," he said softly. "You came. Don't flatter yourself," she spat. "I came to tell you to stay away from me and my daughter." He sighed, taking a slow step forward. "You've changed. Stronger. More beautiful." "Stop it," she warned. "You don't get to say that after what you did." He nodded, pretending to look remorseful. "I know. I was wrong. I was scared back then. My family. They would have never accepted." She cut him off sharply. "Save your excuses. You had a choice. You left me to raise her alone." His jaw clenched. "I didn't know she was born. You disappeared. I hid because I didn't want my daughter growing up around your lies." The air between them thickened. For a second, his face softened. Then let me make it right now. I have money, power, anything you want. Let me take care of both of you. Miriam stared at him in disbelief, then laughed bitterly. Take care of us? You mean control us? You think I'd let you near my child after everything? Something snapped in Minsu's expression. His fake gentleness vanished, replaced by the cold look of a man used to getting what he wanted. You're talking like a woman who doesn't know who she's dealing with, he said quietly. You think that thug Ha-jun can protect you from me? Her heart skipped. How do you know about Ha-jun? He smirked. Because he and I were once on the same side. The words hit her like lightning. What are you saying? Oh, didn't he tell you? Minsu whispered. Ha-jun used to work under my father's syndicate. He was trained by me. He learned everything from me. The weapons, the trade, the blood. That man you think protects you? He's just another devil from my world. Miriam's breath caught. For a moment, everything blurred. Could that be true? Ha-jun working under him? Before she could reply, headlights flared behind her. She turned sharply. Ha-jun's car screeched to a stop. He jumped out, gun in hand, his coat flying behind him. Get away from her, Minsu, he growled. Miriam froze between them, heart pounding so loudly she could barely breathe. Minsu smiled mockingly. Well, look who came to play the hero. You should have stayed dead, Ha-jun spat. You should have stayed loyal, Minsu shot back. Loyal? Ha-jun barked out a bitter laugh. You used people like toys. You destroyed her life. And you think you're better? Minsu sneered. I trained you to be a monster, Ha-jun. Don't act like some savior now. Maybe I was a monster, Ha-jun said, stepping forward. But not anymore. Not because of her. The words echoed through the cold night. Miriam felt tears burn her eyes. Minsu's smirk faded. So, you're in love with her? Ha-jun didn't hesitate. Yes, and if you touch her or her daughter again, I'll bury you where you stand. Silence. Only the sound of the river and the hum of tension so sharp it could cut air. Then Minsu laughed. A low, dangerous laugh. You really think love will save you from me? You're just another fool, Ha-jun. He signaled with 2 fingers. From the shadows, armed men appeared, circling them. Miriam gasped. Ha-jun instantly pulled her behind him. Stay down, he whispered. The night erupted in chaos. Gunfire, shouting, the crash of metal. Ha-jun's men stormed in from the opposite side, returning fire. Miriam ducked behind a container, clutching her head, trembling. The sound of bullets echoed like thunder. She heard Ha-jun shouting orders, his voice rough and fierce. Then silence. Her body shook. She peered out cautiously. Smoke filled the air, and bodies lay scattered across the dock. Ha-jun stood, chest heaving, a graze of blood on his arm. Minsu was gone. He turned toward her, voice hoarse. Are you hurt? She shook her head, but tears rolled down her cheeks. Why didn't you tell me? He froze. Tell you what? That you worked for him, she shouted. That you were part of that same world. Ha-jun looked away, guilt flickering across his face. Because I didn't want you to see me as one of them. I left that life behind the day I met you. But you lied to me, she whispered. You said you were different. I am different, he said softly. Because of you. She stepped back, confusion swirling inside her. Her trust in him was cracking, piece by piece. Ha-jun, I can't do this, she murmured. I can't raise my daughter in blood and danger again. He reached for her hand, desperate. I swear to you, I'll end this. I'll make sure Minsu never touches you again. She pulled her hand away. You can't fight your past forever. He stared at her, pain in his eyes. Then I'll die trying. The next morning, Seoul woke to news of a mysterious shootout near the river. Police surrounded the area, but no one had answers. Miriam sat in her cafe, silent, watching the rain slide down the glass. Her heart was heavy. Ha-jun hadn't come back. His phone was off. His men were silent. For the first time, she was afraid. Not of Minsu, but of losing the one man who had made her believe in love again. As she held Nari close, she whispered shakily, He promised he'd protect us. Baby, he promised. Outside, a black envelope was slipped under her cafe door. She picked it up with trembling hands. Inside was a single note, written in Korean. "The game isn't over. If you want him alive, come alone." Her blood ran cold. The signature at the bottom made her knees buckle. Minsu. The world was silent when Miriam read that note. Only the soft hum of the refrigerator and the faint ticking of the clock filled the air. Her fingers shook as she clutched the black envelope. Her mind screamed to run, to hide, to protect Nari. But her heart refused. She could still hear Hajun's voice from the night at the docks. "I'll die trying." And the way he had looked at her, broken, fierce, in love. Her body trembled. He had gone after Minsu alone. And now he was in danger because of her. Miriam took a deep breath, looked at her sleeping daughter, and whispered, "Forgive me, baby. Mama has to finish this." She packed a small bag, slipped on her black jacket, and left the cafe in the dim light of dawn. The streets were empty, wet with last night's rain. Her steps echoed, each one heavier than the last. By 6 a.m., she stood outside a rusted warehouse near the river. The kind of place no one visited unless they were ready to disappear. The air was thick with mist and danger. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Minsu. "Come inside. Leave your phone outside. You have 5 minutes." Miriam's heart pounded in her chest. She tossed her phone into the gutter, whispered a quick prayer, and pushed the metal door open. Inside, the smell of oil and blood hit her like a slap. Dim lights flickered. Shadows moved in the corners. And then she saw him, Hajun. He was tied to a chair, his face bruised, his shirt soaked in sweat and blood. His head was bowed, but when he heard her footsteps, he lifted his gaze, and his eyes widened in shock. "Miriam," his voice cracked. "What are you doing here?" Her breath hitched. "I got your message." Minsu stepped out from behind a pillar, his smile sharp and venomous. "Good. I was beginning to think you'd let your lover die alone." Miriam turned to him slowly, her voice cold. "Let him go, Minsu. This is between us." He laughed softly, walking in circles like a predator. "Between us? Oh no, sweetheart. You made this about him when you chose him over me." "I never chose you," she said bitterly. "You were my mistake." That hit him. His smile faded, replaced by a dangerous stillness. "You always had that mouth," he muttered. "Even when I loved you. You never loved anyone but yourself." Hajun groaned behind her. "Miriam, leave. Please, don't." But she didn't move. Instead, she faced Minsu with fire in her eyes. "You think you're powerful because people fear you? You're just a coward who hides behind guns and threats. You abandoned me, remember? You couldn't even face fatherhood. You ran." For the first time, his jaw tightened. "Watch your tone." "Or what?" she snapped. "You'll hit me? Kill me? You already killed the woman I used to be." Hajun looked at her in awe, even through his pain. She was trembling, but her voice never broke. Minsu exhaled slowly. "You've gotten bold," he said. "But you've forgotten something. I don't lose what's mine." "I was never yours," she hissed. He smirked and raised his gun, aiming it at Hajun. "Then I'll take what's his." "No!" she screamed, stepping in front of Hajun without thinking, her arms spread wide. "If you want to shoot him, you'll have to shoot through me." Minsu blinked in disbelief. "You'd die for him?" "Yes," she said, her voice shaking but sure. "Because he did what you never could." He stayed. The silence that followed was heavy, thick enough to choke on. For a second, something flickered in Minsu's eyes. Regret? Pain? Maybe both. Then he lowered the gun slowly, only to smirk again. "You think you can win this with emotion, Miriam? This is business. Your leverage. Nothing more." Hajun suddenly spoke, his voice hoarse but steady. "She's not leverage. She's the reason I left your empire. Because I realized there was more to life than power and fear. You wouldn't understand that." Minsu gave a bitter laugh. "You talk like a saint now, but I know you, Hajun. You're a killer, same as me." "Maybe I was," Hajun said, lifting his head. "But I'm not anymore. Because of her." Miriam felt tears sting her eyes. Even broken and bleeding, he still found a way to protect her. Minsu turned away, annoyed. "Enough of this drama. I don't have time for lovers' speeches. He nodded at one of his men. End this. The guard raised his gun, but before he could pull the trigger, a loud explosion rocked the warehouse. Boom! Smoke filled the air. Alarms blared. The door burst open, and Hajun's men stormed in, firing and shouting. Get the boss out! Miriam, run! Hajun roared. She ducked, coughing through the smoke, trying to untie him. Her hands shook, but she managed to loosen the ropes. Come on! She cried. He pulled free, grabbed her wrist, and they sprinted through the chaos together. Bullets flew past them. Men shouted. Flames spread across the floor. They reached the back exit, but Minsu was there, blocking the way, his gun aimed straight at them. Going somewhere? He sneered. Hajun stepped in front of her, shielding her again. Let her go, he said, raising his hands. Minsu's eyes glinted. You'd die for her too? Touching. She's worth dying for. The words hung in the air, raw and true. Minsu's finger twitched on the trigger, but Miriam moved first. She grabbed a metal rod from the ground and swung it with all her strength. It hit Minsu's arm, knocking the gun aside. He shouted in pain as Hajun tackled him to the ground. The two men fought brutally, punches, kicks, blood flying across the floor. Years of betrayal burned between them. Hajun slammed him against a crate. This is for her. He punched again. And this is for the child you abandoned. Minsu spat blood and laughed weakly. You think killing me makes you clean? Hajun hesitated for a second, just long enough for Minsu to pull out a hidden knife. H.A. Miriam screamed. The blade flashed. Hajun dodged, barely, grabbing Minsu's wrist and twisting it hard until the knife clattered to the ground. He pinned him down, gun in hand, breath heavy. Do it? Minsu hissed. End it. Be the monster you were born to be. Hajun's hand trembled. His finger hovered on the trigger. Then he looked at Miriam, her teary eyes, her trembling hands, her silent plea. He dropped the gun. I'm done being a monster, he whispered. Minsu stared in shock. You're weak. No, Hajun said softly. I'm free. He stood, grabbed Miriam's hand, and pulled her out of the burning warehouse as sirens wailed in the distance. Behind them, Minsu lay in the chaos, defeated but alive, watching the woman he once destroyed walk away with the man who had finally learned what love meant. Outside, the sky was turning pink with dawn. Smoke curled into the air as firefighters and police surrounded the area. Hajun collapsed onto the sidewalk, exhausted, bleeding, but alive. Miriam knelt beside him, tears streaming down her cheeks. You idiot, she whispered, shaking. You almost died. He smiled weakly. You came for me, didn't you? She let out a broken laugh. Of course I did. I wasn't going to let you die before you buy me that kimchi stew you promised. He chuckled, wincing in pain. Sharp mouth as always. And don't you forget it, she murmured, pressing a hand against his cheek. Their eyes locked, fire and gentleness all at once. Miriam, he said quietly, I'm sorry for lying about my past. I know, she whispered, and I forgive you. You're not that man anymore. He closed his eyes, relief washing over his face. Let's go home, she said softly. To Nari. She's waiting. He smiled faintly. Home. I like the sound of that. As they walked away together, hand in hand, the rising sun cast a golden glow on the horizon, signaling the start of something new. For the first time in years, Miriam didn't feel broken. She felt alive. She had faced her past, fought her fears, and found love in the most unexpected place. Not with a man who promised perfection, but with one who had been shattered, just like her, and still chose to heal. The sun crawled through the torn curtains like a thief, spilling pale gold light across the small room. Miriam stirred first. Her eyelashes fluttered, her head heavy, her heart heavier. Her body ached, not just from exhaustion, but from the storm that had passed through her life. The night before was war, and then there was him, Hajun, the man she swore to hate, the tattooed devil who once terrified her, had risked everything to save her and her child. Now, in the morning light, he sat by the window shirtless, his back covered in bruises and soot. He was staring out into the street, cigarette between his fingers but unlit. His mind was far away, trapped between guilt and longing. Miriam watched him quietly. The lines on his back told a story of violence, but the way he held his shoulders, tense yet tired, spoke of something deeper. She cleared her throat softly. "You didn't have to help." Hajun didn't look back. Silence filled the room. Only the faint sound of Nari breathing from the corner bed reminded them that the world was still kind enough to give them one more day. Miriam finally sat up, wrapping the blanket around her. "What happened to your club?" He turned then, slow, tired, but still dangerous in that way only he could be. "Gone. Sumin burned it. My men, half of them are gone too." She blinked. "You're saying you lost everything because of me?" Hajun met her eyes, and for a second, there was no Mafia boss. No tattoos, no secrets. Just a man who had made a choice. "I didn't lose it because of you, Miriam. I lost it protecting what I couldn't afford to lose again." Her lips parted, but no words came out. He leaned back, exhaling sharply. "I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of. But last night," he paused, swallowing hard. "Last night, I felt something I didn't think I could feel again, fear. Not for me. For you." Miriam felt a sting in her chest. This was the same man who she once chased, who walked around with arrogance and danger. Now he sounded broken. "You're a confusing man, Hajun," she whispered. He gave a faint smirk. "You're not exactly simple yourself, beautiful." That name again, beautiful. It rolled off his tongue like a confession. Miriam turned away, pretending to fix the blanket, but her heart was drumming fast. Then came Nari's small voice, sleepy and soft. "Mommy, are we safe?" Miriam immediately turned, gathering her daughter in her arms. "Yes, baby, we're safe. I promise." Hajun stood, grabbed his jacket, and quietly slipped something into Nari's hand. A little silver necklace with a moon pendant. "For protection," he said. Nari's face lit up. "Thank you, Mr. June." He smiled gently, the kind of smile Miriam had never seen on him before. Calm, genuine, almost fatherly. But behind that smile was guilt, a shadow he couldn't escape. Weeks later, Miriam opened a small coffee shop by the river, Nari's place. Hajun sat outside every morning, arm bandaged, smiling quietly as he watched her serve customers. People whispered that the Ruthless Mafia had gone soft. Maybe he had. But in that little cafe, surrounded by laughter, the smell of coffee, and the woman who tamed his chaos, Hajun finally found peace. And Miriam? She found what she thought she'd lost forever. A home, a heart, and a love that survived the flames.
Hello besties, in this sweet story we learned that no matter how much life abandons you, strength, resilience and self-worth can turn pain into power. True love and loyalty reveal themselves in unexpected places, while those who betray will face their own karma. A woman who protects, fights for and believes in herself can rise above any challenge and claim her destiny. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe and share.